Sawadika, welcome to Asean Talks. I'm Chalapansa Narula. In the wake of the global economic crunch, Thailand has been looking for newer export destinations and also diversifying markets. Trade dialogue has been expanded to as far as Latin America and the Caribbean, and that will not only benefit Thailand but also Southeast Asia as well. About this economic partnership between Asean and Latin America, today we have Dr. Prechaporn Suwatnodom from the Office of Thailand Trade Representative joining us here to tell us more about these new investment initiatives and also the new trade channels. Sawadika, Doctor.
Sawadika.
Thank you very much for joining us today on ASEAN Talks.
Thank you.
To begin with, tell us a bit about your thoughts, your opinions on the economic partnership between ASEAN and Latin America.
The economics between these two regions for ASEAN and Latin, it's growing tremendously. As you can see that the number, for example, the bilateral trade, just the trade, not investment, the end of 2010 compared to 2009, it went up almost 50%.
50% increase.
The end of the year 2009, we have the trade volume of 7.5 billion US dollar. By the end of year 2010, it grew to become 10 billion US dollar.
I see.
Okay.
So trade has increased significantly.
Yes, as you can see by the number. Not only that, we also have the center called CELAC Center, which established by the University of Thailand Chamber of Commerce, which would be the center who has all the information about trading, the tax, the tariff, or the investment opportunity between Southeast Asia and Latin American continental.
I see.
Yes.
What has actually been the main factors contributing to this huge growth in the economic partnership, showing that it's another strong region, emerging market?
But as you can see, they went through Asian economic, they went
to the global economic crisis.
Okay. They went through global economic crisis before, but they have learned their lesson. They recover, and now as you can see that the policy, the investment policy, the tax policy has been changed. Also, in the same time, Latin America has a very good mineral resource such as copper, zinc, lead, which is actually the largest in the world.
I see.
Okay.
So these are some of the main reasons making Latin America
and
grow
I believe
significantly.
the culture between ASEAN and Latin, we have very similar culture.
Really?
Yes.
How so?
For example, let's say if you compare between Latin continental and then USA, when the kids turn 18 or 21, they tend to go out and live by themselves. They be independent. But as you can see, for example, from Chile, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, they tend to live close to their parents.
I see.
Yeah. So it's very similar to Thai culture where we believe that we should stay close to our parents and try not to, go away from home.
So these are some of the similarities.
Yes. And if you can see, the outside Japanese people who live outside of Japan, number one is in Brazil.
Okay.
Yes.
So that goes to show that there are a lot of the same cultural values that we share, and trade has been increasing significantly as well. If you look at the economic progress and prosperity in Latin America at the moment, do you think it has reached its peak yet, or there's much more room to grow?
There's a lot more room to grow. Look at the first number of this year, 2011, okay? So we compare 2010 to 2009, that's the whole year. It went up 50%. Only first 3 months of 2011 compared to the first 3 months of 2010, the number went up almost 42%. So there's a lot more room to grow. Not just trade, look at investment. We have Jacto from Brazil who choose Thailand as a base for their manufacture for heavy machine. One of the largest leather company, Sadesa from Argentina, also based on Thailand. Look at Big Cola from Peru. Now their market share in Thailand for the soft drink almost reached 20%.
I see.
That's owned by Peru. And also Cemex from Mexico. Look at, there's a lot of investment coming up to our region, not just trading.
Why have they selected Thailand as their production base in the first place?
Depends on the tax-intensive location. Thailand would be a very good hub to distribute all that product to another country in ASEAN. That's why we are the hub of ASEAN. We can distribute to Cambodia, Burma, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. All the country in ASEAN.
So the opportunities are vast. There's a lot of room to grow, like you mentioned.
A lot more, yes.
So if you tell us about the benefits that Thailand is set to gain from the trade, the free trade agreement, the policies between Latin America and the Caribbean region, comparing them to traditional trade partners like the United States, we have Europe and also Japan. These places are actually slowing down. Tell us about the advantages that Thai businessmen, or in fact the whole region of ASEAN, would be gaining.
Let's look at it as a whole region. For ASEAN and US, of course, the relationship we have to keep going because that's our main major of our import and export between Thai and USA, Thai and EU, of course. But why not explore to the new market? Latin American, they are important. As you can see, one of the cover magazine, The Economist, a couple weeks ago, they say Latin America is a backbone of the earth. It's a backbone of the earth. So Latin America is a new explore region. Okay, so why not explore the new country? Okay, and in the same time, we are not the only one who go there. From my experience, I went to Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica. Korean is already going there. Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, China. So
everybody's actually rushing to Latin America.
Yes, actually, just last month, the government of China just finished building the national sport stadium and give to the government of Costa Rica. Okay, so they can see that they try to build the relationship between Latin American country and the ASEAN country.
So the economic importance has now shifted to that region.
It's become very attractive.
It's becoming attractive.
Yes.
And is the government actually open to new investments?
Very. They welcome the new investment. For example, Peru, Chile, they have a lot of mining, such as copper, silver, gold, lead, zinc. They're willing to have the foreign investor who go in and do concession for the mining. And this concession policy is pretty fair if you take a look at it.
Now let's talk about some of the common trade that we currently have between some of the Latin American countries, Thailand and Latin America.
Okay.
Tell us a bit of some of those businesses.
So, number one, right now we export, of course, pickup truck or the automobile parts, auto parts. What else?
Auto parts, electronics?
Auto parts, electronics part, washing machine, printer, microwave. That's what we number one export to Latin American country. But we also import a lot of mineral. For example, copper, zinc, frozen seafood, some agriculture business too.
I see.
Okay. But the thing is this. In order for us to increase the trade and enhance the investment, we need to work together as a team, as a Thailand team. For example, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Commerce, BOI, the Office of Thailand Trade Representative, we work together as a team, okay? So we step into like 3 parts. So first, we call it G2G, so government to government. If we have our government, which, let's say, for example, Dr. Wacha Panchet, which the Thailand Trade Representative, has led many business delegates from Thailand to most of the country in Latin American country. If the government sector meet with the government sector, with the minister level, it makes a lot easier to work on the policy.
So the doors are basically open.
The door open for the government on both sides. They welcome us. We go them to make sure that we are very serious and we would like to do the business with you. That's G2G. Next, we call it O2O, organization to organization. That's why we also bring the president of Thailand Chamber of Commerce, the vice president of Federal of Thai Industry, and also we also have the Thai Latin Business Council, which is Kun Somkiat Anurad. So O2O, we go organization to organization. So we can see that once the government open the door, next is O2O. So we can see that, hey, this is the sector that we have in our country. What do you have? This is what we have. What would you like us to invest in? What would you like to buy from us or sell from us as a O2O?
So it's basically a step of exploring opportunities.
Yes, that's as a macro scale. Now next one, the most important one is B2B. That's the business to business. Now this is what the people actually be selling or buying or investing. Okay, so G2G, O2O, and B2B. That's make the whole team work. Yes.
Now, as for the current major export destination that Thai businessmen are exporting their goods and services to Latin America, which is the most popular market there at the moment?
Oh, right now, number one we're trading is Brazil.
Brazil.
Okay. Second is Mexico, Argentina, Chile, and Peru. These are top 5 in Latin. But major, the most number one product that we export is the auto parts and pickup truck. That's almost over 50% of it.
I see.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you, if Brazil is actually the number one country that Thailand is trading with at the moment in the Latin American region.
3.2 billion a year.
3.2 billion US dollars a year.
Yes.
But we recently established an FTA with Peru instead of Brazil.
Yes.
Why Peru and not Brazil in the initial phase?
Because Peru has been begin for a long time. The negotiation processing has begun since a couple years ago. Okay. So Peru can be one of the country that we can use as a hub. So we can use Peru as a gateway to distribute to another country in Latin American country. Because as you can see that with Latin American country itself, they also have the Andean community and Mercosur. Okay. So now we have to do country by country. Okay. Peru and Chile actually both are in the process now, but Peru is already been finished. Now we're in the process of selecting which category, which I believe there's 8,000 category, but 5,000 would be effective right away. But out of that 5,000, I believe 4,000 would be zero tax right away, such as pickup truck from 4% to 0%.
I see.
The other 2,000, it's going to take another 5 years until it reaches 0%.
Oh, so trade has not been fully liberalized as yet. We have to wait for a couple of more years for you mean tariff to be reduced to 0%, the FTA between Thailand and Peru.
Oh, it's all effective this year.
It has been effective,
yes.
But as for the number of goods and services traded between the two countries,
so 4,000 category would be effective right away.
Since January the 1st of this year.
I believe it should be coming right now. They're on the process of declaring which time would be effective, starting when.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the negotiation has been already done.
Negotiation has been done.
Yeah.
The pact has been officially in effect. But as for the amount of goods and services to benefit truly, that has still to be announced.
Yes.
So by the time the agreements or the tariff is fully liberalized, meaning no tax at all, that would take a couple of years from now.
Actually, it would be effective this year.
No, for the total.
For the total, or depends on which category you're talking about.
I see.
Because total is 5,000 to 8,000, but 4,000 would be effective this year right away. The other 2,000 would take another 5 years, which may be reduced 1% per year until it reach, on the 5th year becomes 0%.
So that is how it works.
Yes.
Now, we'll take a short break now, but stay right here with us on ASEAN Talks, as when we come back, we'll talk about the cooperation now between ASEAN and also Latin America and the opportunities that remain. Welcome back. You stay with us on ASEAN Talks, and with us today is Dr. Prechaporn Suwatnodom from the Office of Thailand Trade Representative. We were talking about the Thailand and Peru FTA, which came into effect since January of this year. Let's now talk about the industries that are set to benefit from this agreement.
I believe as benefit for the category, I believe as a region as a whole, every product would benefit. But of course, number one is pickup truck, car, auto parts, which number one export, that we export from Thai to Peru. But in the same time, we also import a lot of zinc, lead, copper from Peru. Okay. Next category would be electronics parts, auto parts, computer parts, washing machine parts, radio parts, follow up, But there might be a small sector that we think it may be affected, which is fish meal. Because Thailand also produce fish meal, but Peru, they also very good in producing fish meal.
I see.
So if FTA become effective, I believe maybe there would be some effect to our for the Thai business people who do fish meal business.
I see.
So we have a policy of assisting the people who do the fish meal.
So basically, there are some minor challenges, and Thailand business people would have to sort of catch up and perhaps, make their fish meal better.
Yes.
to compete with the Peruvians. Okay, now let's talk about ASEAN. If Thailand is eyeing Latin America, are there other countries in the ASEAN region eyeing, the same market?
Oh, definitely. For example, we just came back from Peru. Peru is planning to build 7 new freeway, okay, and they give the concession fee, okay, for the other private sector from different country who would like to come and bidding to to collect the fee for the freeway, for the highway. The first 2 concession already been giveaway, already been complete, okay, but the third concession is on the process now, and believe it or not, 7 country it's on the process of bidding this third concession. Out of 7, 3 of them is from Asia.
So a lot of Asians are interested
in
doing business there.
They are going there. Mining in Chile, okay, Codelco. They already have the ASEAN office headquarters in China, which is Codelco is one of the largest mining company in Chile, okay, and Sadesa, as I mentioned, the biggest leather company from Argentina, Cemex, Mexico. Okay, but in the same time, we have to try to push our Thai business to go out and invest outside also. That's why BOI create what's called TOI, Thailand Overseas Investment. We try to support the Thai business people who has ability to go out and invest outside. For example, Indorama has already polymer plastic, yes, already invest has an office in Mexico. So we try to do both in and out. So for example, if we try to go there and try to sell something, it would be difficult now this day for you to go sell something. But if we want to tell them, hey, we are here to buy you things, we are here to invest in your country, what policy do you have to offer? What sector do you recommend? Please tell us. We will find a good business matching partner for you.
You've been around to so many countries. Tell us a bit for investors, for business people to do business in countries in the Latin American region. Is it difficult comparing to when you establish offices in other ASEAN regions, perhaps in Vietnam, in Singapore? Because out there, it's a different place.
Yes.
And I believe that there could be some of the barriers that speak Spanish and Portuguese, for example.
Okay.
Is it more difficult?
To answer your question, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I also wouldn't say it's difficult. First, the difficult barrier first is the language, of course. Brazil, they speak Spanish, Portuguese, but majority of everybody in Latin, they speak Spanish, okay? But for the language, as you can see from the experience that I went, a lot of people speak English. So the language is not really the difficult barrier that we have to overcome. But what more difficult is they're very far.
The logistics, the journey
very far.
Has to be from Asia to Latin America.
For example, on the way back from me, that came back from Costa Rica, it took me 35 hours from Costa Rica back to Bangkok, okay, all the route. But the distance, actually, if you think about it, now the trade has increased. So what caused the price of us that when we have to compare with another supplier from another country is the freight. But if you can see, if the trade increase, usually the freight between the 2 regions will decrease the price, okay? So instead of us shipping one full container there, on the way back, why not buying something in the same container and bring it back? Instead of shipping it back to empty container, okay? So we have to do both bilateral trade, okay?
So you have to plan well,
yes,
in order to manage the cost for traveling.
And it's not difficult because right now, Office of Thailand Trade Representative, also along with Thailand Chamber of Commerce, which led by Dr. Prechaporn Suwatnodom and Kun Somkiat Anurat, we have the Thai Latin Business Council. Any SME people, any business people who would like to have a knowledge of what to do, how to begin. If they want to sell something, they want to import something, you can go to the Thai Latin Business Council or CELAC Center at the University of Thailand Chamber of Commerce. They both has a very good information for you there.
I see. Being with Thailand Trade Representative Office, are you happy with this deal now? And what's your next step? The newer markets that you're trying to tap in, opportunities that are available for Thai
every market
businessmen.
is important. For example, why we focus on Latin? Why we focus on Latin? Last year in November, we have the first Latin Business Forum, which organized in Thailand. Okay, our Prime Minister Abhisit Vechachiwa also came and do the open ceremony. So it's a very big event. We can see that Latins become one of the most attractive region that we cannot overlook. Okay, but in the same time, 2015 AEC. ASEAN, of course, number one. Okay, we look at everybody equally important, but we should not overlook someone who's logistically far. Okay, we have why not increase more trade? Because overall benefit is become to Thai people. US, EU, ASEAN, why not Latin?
So there could be more bilateral agreements with
Yes,
other countries
of
now?
course, of course.
Which is the next market
Chile.
that you're aiming? Chile.
Yes. Right now, the FTA between Thailand and Chile is on the process now, which probably finish by the end of this year or the latest, probably next year. So Peru is already done. Chile is on the way.
And recently there was a trip to Mexico as well.
Yes, Mexico, Peru, 4 months ago. Last month was Panama and Costa Rica. Yes.
Now, what are the businesses or types of investments that they are looking for from Thailand, these countries?
From Thailand?
Yes.
Majority is mineral resource like mining. Okay. For example, Peru, Chile, they have a lot of mining that they would like a lot of foreign investors to go in and do concession with them. Okay. So they're looking for a good partner also. Okay. For example, energy drink, soft drink. Instead of us try to bring down our costs and try to sell to USA, pass to Mexico, or sell to Mexico, why not go there and find a good partner and invest there? Because Mexico is a very big population. They drink a lot of coconut juice, they drink a lot of soft drink, they drink a lot of energy drink. Thailand we are one of the best people who do the coconut drink and energy drink.
So these are some of the things that could happen in the near future.
Also auto parts. So for example, auto parts, if you have an order which the quantity is not high enough, so in order to you to make one more, it would cost very high because you don't have enough quantity order. Is it worth it to build one more? Maybe you can find a partner who shared cost for the more and then print it out and then sell it to both ASEAN and Latin.
Now, as we're eyeing them, how are they viewing ASEAN and Thailand?
Very important, very important. Why are they coming here? Look at it. On March 30th, we just have a Peru Business Forum Day. They invite the Minister of Commerce from Peru to Thailand. They look at Thailand as a very important country that Thailand can be a very good hub as an ASEAN in region. Okay, look at Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Peru, Panama. They're all coming to ASEAN too. Okay, they don't just focus on just EU and USA.
So the trade directions are shifting everywhere around the world.
Yes.
We are important.
Global.
ASEAN is important.
Yes.
Latin America at the same time is
Yes.
being important.
Yes.
What about the traditional partners like US and Europe? Are they
They're also very
becoming less
important.
significant now?
They're also very important and they're still very significant. That's what I'm saying before. We cannot overlook US, EU or ASEAN. These are very good neighbor. These are very good partner of us for the long time. But why not export to the new market? Why not increase the trade? Why not increase the investment? Okay, well, because back in the old days, as you can see, Latin American, they went through crisis before. They learned their lesson. Okay, for example, every time when we have a meeting, when they ask about our political instability, they don't get excited at all. They're not surprised. They even say, "Oh, we've been worse."
They have their own issues.
Yes.
Which was actually I was going to ask you about what they think about our political situation.
Oh, they don't. It does not take them away from us. It doesn't take their eyes away from Thailand.
I see.
Yes.
So it's a long-term vision that they have for Thailand and ASEAN. Has there been any projections as to how much trade will be increasing between ASEAN and Latin America, especially with Thailand and Peru, now that the FTA has been in effect?
With all the factors include the government, the private sector working together as a team Thailand, the trade, for example, 2009, it's 7.5 billion US dollar both way. 2000 it become 10 billion. Thailand Chamber of Commerce, Office of Thailand Trade Representative, Ministry of Commerce projected that the number would go double within 5 years. So it should go close to 20 billion US dollar in 5 years. But after the FTA with Peru, after we have CELAC Center, after Latin Business Forum Day, after all the business trip that we invite them to come, we also go there. I think the number can be reached maybe within 3 to 4 years.
I see. So that is very promising,
yes.
I should say. Now let me ask you this other question. We have our bilateral agreements with some of the countries in Latin America, and the FTA is actually growing gradually
yes.
as negotiations get underway. At the same time, other countries in the ASEAN bloc are having their own agreements as well. Now, do you think this would actually, make the competition much tougher, or does it benefit the region as a whole?
I think it's a good news. So, which means ASEAN overall become very attractive. For example, right now Singapore already finished the FTA with Chile and Peru. Okay, so which means as a whole region, ASEAN become very attractive to them, and also they are very attractive to the other country in ASEAN also. By 2015, once it becomes AEC, we can work as a whole team.
Will it be better if ASEAN has an FTA with Latin America?
Actually, that's a study. That's a study between ASEAN and Mercosur. Okay, but there's only been study, but it hasn't do any next further step if FTA can be effective. That's why we go country to country. Interesting indeed. As for the current negotiations that you mentioned, we are already discussing with Chile, with Mexico. How much time do you think it's going to take before the FTAs are done? Okay, from FTA, Thailand and Peru is already effective. Thailand and Chile should be done probably latest by the end of this year or beginning of next year.
I see. Yeah. Now, how committed is Thailand in providing trade facilitation to foreign investors?
BOI. Border investment can be provided, for example, tax intensive, location, logistic, tax, tariff, all these benefits that BOI offer to the foreign investor from Latin to our region, to our country. BOI has all this policy to provide to make sure that it's benefit for both sides. I
see. So basically, we are committed to welcome more investments from that region and other regions here in Thailand as well. Now, before we end the show, let me talk a bit about the roles of Office of Thailand's Trade Representative in stimulating further economic cooperation, if not Latin America, but other nations that perhaps we could benefit from. Tell us a bit about your roles.
Okay, so Thailand Trade Representative, which led by Kun Kiat Sithi Amor, which is the President of Thailand Trade Representative, Dr. Sutat Set Bunsang, Dr. Wachar Panchet. These three leaders, they work together as a team. Okay, before, back in the old days, TTR office divide the world into 3 regions. So one people take 1/3, one person take 1/3, the other person take 1/3. Now they work together as a matrix. We look at the sector. We also take a look at the region also. So India, Japan, EU, USA, Canada, Latin, they all work together as a team. Depends on the sector, depends on the location. Okay. So basically, everybody's working hard to initiate more trade opportunities for Thailand. And that's all the time we have. Thanks to Dr. Prechaporn for joining us today. Swadika. Have a good day. And that was Dr. Prechaporn Suwatnodom from the Office of Thailand Trade Representative joining us today on ASEAN Talks. And that concludes today's edition. Thanks to all of you for spending part of your day with us as well. I'm Cholapansan Vrula. See you next time. Swadika.